in 2023 so far. 5 consecutive victories and a 57-point lead coming into this one. But how quickly things can change in the championship, especially in the Asia Talent Cup. Coming your way, 2 races. The first one, of course, coming up in around about 10 minutes time at 4 local time. And the race 2 kicking off on Sunday morning at 9:45 local time. Get those notes jotted down in your diaries and don't miss a single lap of action of Asia Talent Cup here in Thailand. Beautiful, sunny, blue skies, and I can confirm the temperatures are soaring here in Buram, as was to be expected in this part of the world. 33 degrees air temperature. It certainly feels warmer than that. Tough conditions for the Asia Talent Cup riders to deal with, but they're used to that, of course, racing in Indonesia, back in Malaysia for round 1 as well. Japan wasn't exactly cold either, and then after these 2 races we go to Qatar and Malaysia. Malaysia first and then Qatar, the final round of the season. My name's Elliot York. Hello and welcome to the broadcast here for race 1. Alongside me in the commentary box is Chris Jordan. And Chris, once again, for the 3rd time this season, it is the number 7 of Veda Pratama on pole position.
Yeah, superb return to form. He was on pole last time out. He's only been off pole position once this season, as you said, and he started 6th. And that still didn't make much of a difference with him coming out on top in Japan. All eyes on the number 7. He needs to leave here with a 100-point gap to become champion. He's 2 races to do it. It's a big, big ask, and he can just tee himself up for Malaysia. But he could, in theory, do it this weekend.
He certainly could. He certainly could do it this weekend. Can't do it in race 1. So we'll just explain to you how it can unfold. Essentially, after the 2 races here in Thailand, there's 4 races left. As I mentioned, first up in Malaysia, and then to round off the 2023 season in Qatar. 4 races, 100 points on offer. He's 57 points clear over Zen Mitani as things stand. Basically, he needs to leave here with 100 points or more in his pocket. So plenty of points he needs to gain. It's a very, very difficult task for Pratama to wrap it up this weekend. But we'll focus more on that tomorrow. It can't be done today. And obviously, depending on what's happening today, we'll get a clearer picture as to what can happen tomorrow. Second on the grid is Ryota Ogiwara, the number 16 rider. First front row since Malaysia for Ogiwara. Had a very strong qualifying indeed, but he has a double long lap penalty, Chris. Fortunately, riding slow in a few sectors in qualifying was Ogiwara, a rule that was reintroduced after the riders were a little bit naughty, to put it politely, back in Indonesia. So the Asia Talent Cup reintroduced the rule, and unfortunately Ogiwara has been caught out. So he will start second on the grid, but unfortunately for Ogiwara, he does have to deal with 2 double long lap penalties. So an uphill task already for Ogiwara, starting from second.
Yeah, definitely. He was less than a 10th off of Pratama's time in qualifying. So he's definitely got the pace to go with him, but that double long lap penalty is going to be crucial. He's got no podiums either, yes, in the ATC. A couple near misses with P4s in each round previously to this one. So let's see how he can bounce back. We saw just a little bit earlier, Puetasan, the number 20, the home hero, is on the front row. He had a few tenths further back from the pole man here today, but he's P3 in Japan. Race 2 was his best result. He'll be on and targeting another podium here. Maybe give the home fans plenty to scream about if he can keep pace with Pratama. Starting from 4th, we also saw him on our screens just a moment ago, is Eamon Odaki. He has proven a real thorn in the side of Pratama this year so far. A couple of times we thought Pratama might break away, but Odaki has managed to stick with them. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get a good launch from the line to do it once again here.
Yeah, great for the Thai fans to have Puetasan on the front row. 4 Thai riders on the grids for the home fans to cheer about. Puetasan starting from the front row, as we mentioned. Barappa Wan Moon will start from P9 on the number 10 machine. And then we've got 2 wildcards this weekend in Thailand. The first of them on the grid is Kiatizak Singapong, the number 24 rider. Look out for Singapong. He's had a strong weekend so far on home soil. And the 4th one is Katsada Tanachot, the number 22. So look out for those riders, especially you Thai fans out there watching along from home. But yes, Adaki, if you didn't see the race, the first race that is, last time out in Indonesia, I suspect you go and watch it, because it was a fantastic battle between Adaki and Pratama. Chris, we saw it back in Japan, didn't we, race 2? That ended in tears for Adaki, unfortunately. He lost out on the last lap in Indonesia in race 1 as well. So Adaki, if he gets a good start from P4, Pratama does have good pace, but it's not as strong as it was back in Indonesia, and Adaki managed to stick with him in race 1. So do look out for Adaki on the number 14 machine.
Yeah, we've seen them rub shoulders on more than one occasion this year, and here's hoping we see a little bit more action. Keep it clean, keep it fair, boys, but let's see some entertainment as well. Plenty of other talent out there on the grid as well. Lining up beside Eamon Odaki in the second row is Zen Matani, who's P2 in the standings. He needs, as we mentioned, he's the one who can keep Pratama's championship dreams on ice. He needs to pick up at least 8 points this weekend to keep the title fight going. And as we mentioned, he's a rookie. He's only been off the podium once as well this campaign, when he was caught up in a late crash in Japan after a result of an incident between Hodaki and Pratama. So he's certainly a burgeoning talent here in the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah, he certainly is. Matani's had a super impressive season. Only DNF, and only time, as you say, Chris, not off the podium, was race 2 in Japan, and even then he was fighting for the podium. So yeah, watch out for Matani. You rightly mentioned there, Chris, that he is the lead challenger to Pratama. You feel, with Pratama potentially having the chance to wrap up the title on Sunday, depending how things go today, that this really is last chance saloon for the riders in the chase to try and pick up some points. They need to start doing it now, or Pratama will just go on to win the title. But as I say, Pratama had the edge, had a massive advantage over in Indonesia. He was on pole by 1.2 seconds. That's not the case this time around. Ogiwara was within a tenth of Pratama in qualifying. He does have that 2 long lap penalties, but Ogiwara does have good pace here in Thailand. So hopefully, for Ogiwara's sake, the long lap penalties don't cost him too much, and he can get back into the group depending how it plays out. Fuetsam was 3 tenths off Pratama in qualifying, and the top 9 was split by less than a second. So much tighter in terms of times in qualifying than it was in Indonesia, but we got a couple of belting races over in Indonesia. Pratama on number 7 did race away in race 2, but we did have some special battles for the podium. So I'm thinking, Chris, don't want to predict anything too early, because as we've seen already this year, predicting things doesn't tend to go too well in the Asia Talent Cup. But I think we're going to have a special battle.
Too many right just yet.
No, we haven't, unfortunately. Prediction powers aren't our strong point.
So this is your starting grid. It's Pratama, Ogiwara and Puetasan on the front row, with a powerful looking row 2 of Odaki, Matani and Azawa. Row 3 is Al Sahuti, Takehira, home hero One Moon closes out the third row. Rekat Fadila starts 10th alongside Hafai and Putra. More home favourite Singapong is starting 13th on the grid alongside Nicholas and Raziadan. Chessie Melandri, Tanachot and Russo are on row 6, while completing your starting grid is Darwisi, Shaban, Gading and Putra.
That is your starting grid then for race 1 here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, round 4 from the Chang International Circuit. A circuit that's got a little bit of everything. The first sector, you squirt it down from the starting grid into turn 1, second gear turn 1, and then the kilometre long back straight that the riders are piling their way down now reach speeds of over 210 kilometres per hour, and then they get down through turn 2, which really isn't a corner by any means, but they call it turn 2, the slight left kink into turn 3, and then they fire it back up to turn 4, and then you get to the twisty bits through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then for me, one of the best ends to the lap we have on a calendar. Just lends itself perfectly for last lap overtakes down into turn 12, come through the fast kink at turn 11, Chris, and into turn 12. We've seen it already today in the MotoGP sprint without giving anything away. We've had some last lap overtakes down there, and I'm expecting more today.
Yeah, expect high drama here in the ATC at one of the most phenomenal circuits on the motorsports calendar. As you say, it's got a little bit of everything, doesn't it? And I really love a long straight myself, and it's nearly got 2 of them here. So expect slipstream, excuse me, let me put my teeth in, but expect slipstream to come into play big time here.
Yeah, exactly that. We saw in qualifying, I was watching them from pit wall, just keeping up with what was going on and catching up with a few people. We saw plenty of the riders lapping together, trying to get into the slipstream. We saw Mitani and Pratama lapping together as well. So that was interesting indeed for a few laps, just trying to work each other out. Number 2, Mitani, starting from the middle of the second row, needs a good start. Will he get it? Pratama, Ogiwara, Fuetazan is your front row as a reminder, with Adaki, Mitani and Ozawa on row 2. An all Japanese second row here in Thailand, but this is the rider they're all looking to beat. Pratama, 145 points out of a possible 150. Starts of the season don't get much better than that. Furusawa won 7 out of 7 back in 2021. If Veda Pratama wins these 2 races in Thailand, he will have won 7 in a row. Not bad at all. Good to see some of the fans sticking around in the grandstands, but race 1, 15 laps coming your way here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. Lights are on and we are underway, and it's Pratama who gets a fantastic launch from pole position on the number 7 machine. Fuetazan also gets away well. He's going to stick it up the inside of the number 16 of Ogiwara. Fuetazan, a good start for the tyre rider then. He gets into P2 early doors, but it's Pratama who leads the way, gets the whole shot, and now it's all about the slipstream down the back straight.
Yeah, super start from Pratama. Front 6 is as you were. It looked like Shinya Ozawa had a good start from second row, but he was cut off by Zen Mitani. But it's all about Pratama now in the opening corners here. Daki has slipped now back behind Fuetazan, with Mitani running in 4th. I'm not quite sure who has just run a little bit wide there. They've slipped back into 4th or 5th place. I think it was Ozawa who went a little bit wider. Ryota Ogiwara, however, he's down to 5th already, starting 2nd on the grid. Not the ideal start for the Japanese rider, particularly with a double long lap penalty coming, and Odaki holding off a move on the inside. Zen Mitani having a little look, see if he could hang it on the outside, but Pratama leads.
Certainly does. They've closed the gap down through the slipstream from turn 1, 2 and 3, and then back up towards the top end of the circuit from 3 to 4, the fast turn 4. Pratama's lead has vanished. He got a great start, didn't he, Pratama? Ogiwara up to 4th place. Double long lap penalty, remember, for the number 16 rider. Watch out for that. The long lap penalty area is around 5 and 6 around the outside. It's a pretty long one this weekend here in Thailand, so he's going to lose around about 6 seconds, I think, taking the double long lap penalty. So he's going to want to make up time in these early exchanges. Didn't get the launch from P2 he would have wanted. There's a crash in the background there. Who is that? It's Hafai who's gone down on the number 19. Great to see him back up on his feet. That was a scary one down through turn 10. Didn't quite see what happened, just saw the aftermath. Can he get the bike going? Farish Hafai, not quite sure. He's back up on his feet, which is the main thing. Hopefully, for his sake, he can get the bike going and complete the race. But lap 1 done then, and it looks like we're going to have a change for the lead down at turn 1. No, Fuetazan just thinks a little bit better of it, the tyre rider. He knows that slipstream is going to come into effect. Down the long back straight, the kilometre-long back straight. Veda Pratama still leading the way, but for how long? The number 20, the tyre rider of Fuetazan, pulls out of the slipstream, gets alongside Veda Pratama up the inside. Who's going to be last of the late breakers down into turn 3? Pratama, always good on the brakes. We've seen it all season long from the number 7 machine. Hangs it around the outside of Fuetazan, and he holds on to the lead for now.
Brilliant racecraft from Pratama there to hold off the challenger, the home hero. I'm sure he's got fans in his ears willing him on to make that move, but this is all about, we've another rider down, but this is all about holding your nerve. There's a long, long way to go in this race just yet.
I think that was
we're going to take a look here at what has happened. It's a strange one, I must say. Coming out of there, looked like it never quite settled for Farish Hafai.
Yeah, unfortunately for Hafai, just got it a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 9. But like I say, the main thing is he's up on his feet, because that was a pretty nasty one for the number 19 of Hafai, the Malaysian. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the bike back going, but he has another race tomorrow morning to try and put things right. So what have we got here already, Chris? A lead group of around 6 riders, I make it. Yeah, the top 6 have just broken clear then of the group behind. The group behind is led by Takahira, the rider who is 3rd in the championship standing. So that's good news if your name's Veda Pratama, one of your main title contenders, is out of the lead group as Adaki slings it up the inside down at turn 12, gets it a little bit squirrely on the exit. and he keeps third place, but that's a little bit of a sign of things to come, I think, throughout this race as we clock on to lap 3.
Yeah, we've seen that from Otaki a lot this year. He is not afraid to chuck it into a corner and make that move. It is so entertaining to watch. He nearly got it wrong there as Pratama sets the fastest lap of the race. It's still quite a bit behind Ayumu Sasaki's fastest race lap from 2015, but I'm sure we're going to see the pace heat up a little bit here. But Poeta-san still holding on to second place, with Otaki once again a little out of shape coming through, and Zen Mitani following hot on his heels, with Ryota Ogiwara still to go through the long lap penalty loop for the first of his 2 long lap penalties. He's riding in 5th with Shinya Izawa in 6th.
Yeah, importantly for Ogiwara, he has clung on to this lead group. Didn't get the start he would have wanted, but importantly, he's not been able to mix things up and drop back into the second group that are already over 2 seconds behind the leaders. I'm just wondering when Ogiwara is going to come into the long lap penalty loop. He hasn't. I can see out the comments box window, Ogiwara is through the long lap penalty loop for his first one. Going to watch him all the way around. It looks like he's done it nice and safely, and he just pulls out ahead of the chasing group. So Ogiwara's just got to get his head down, not get too involved with the chasers. You can see the number 16 in the background there. He's lost around about 2 seconds doing his first long lap penalty loop, so it's going to probably drop him behind all these riders and maybe the 2 in the background as well. So plenty of time lost, unfortunately, for Ogiwara, but all he's got to do now is complete his second long lap penalty loop cleanly and then just get his head down and see what he can do.
Yeah, we've seen through qualifying already that he's got the pace to match the fastest rider here in the ATC, as we're going to see a change for the lead that'll make the home fans very happy as Jack Rapat Poeta-san steals the lead from Pratama. Now let's see what he has got for the Indonesian and Cup leader, I should say. But Pratama fights straight back. Brilliant stuff from Pratama, and that is why he is number 1 in the championship.
Yeah, you're spot on, Chris. Pratama did not want anyone else to lead that race, especially Poeta-san. He knows that Poeta-san obviously launched it onto the front row in qualifying, has good pace, and that 1:46.9 from Poeta-san is faster than he's done all weekend long. A 47.2 was Poeta-san's lap time in qualifying, so that's a great lap early doors in this race from the Thai rider. He's clearly hungry for home success, is the number 20. We've gone down the slipstream from turns 1, 2 and 3, and now we head back up the hill, and Poeta-san on the number 20 pulls out of the slipstream of Izawa. We mentioned how crucial slipstream was in this race, and at this circuit, Pratama tries to hang it around the outside, but gets the cut back on Poeta-san heading down into turn 5. That's fantastic racing between the pair. Great racecraft from Pratama, your race leader.
Yeah, Poeta-san just, he's knocking at the door, but Pratama has an answer for everything that the Thai rider is throwing at him at the moment. But all this chopping and changing, and here comes Poeta-san again. He's a little too far back there to make a move stick. But all this chopping and changing at the front is keeping the riders just behind them. Mitani, Otaki and Izawa very much in this, and particularly Mitani, who's riding in the final podium place as things stand. He's got championship on his mind, surely. He's not going to want to see Pratama break off into the distance, as our time screens notify us that Ogiwara has completed the double long lap penalty, but he finds himself all the way back in P13. So that is the damage the long lap penalty loop can do. He was in 5th place when he entered. He's now down in 13th.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ogiwara, but that's just what happens. That's the rules. If you do something a little bit naughty in qualifying or in free practice, it's the price you've got to pay. But he's completed them now, just got to get his head down like we said earlier and just try and finish as high as possible. But he won't have to do the same on Sunday morning's race. So that's the long lap penalty loops done for Ogiwara. But yeah, down to P13. Pratama again late on the brakes down into turn 3. Poeta-san still in 2nd place, keeping his powder drier than he did on the last lap. We'll see what he does now coming back up the hill. He's got a good run out of turn 3 as the number 20 with the Thai flag on his helmet. All the riders have got their home nation flags on their helmets. 20 of Poeta-san. Oh, that was close. He slings it up the inside of Pratama, chops the nose off the number 7. Will Pratama react straight away down into turn 5? No, thinks better of it. Live championship standings on your screen. Pratama will be extending his lead over Mitani by a slim margin. Not enough to potentially take the championship this weekend, but obviously there's so much racing left to go, so you can ignore those for the time being. Mitani on the number 2 machine dropped behind Adaki on the previous lap, but you just got to watch out. Oh, that was close again. Pratama.
And he still makes the move to go in front. That is ridiculous from the Indonesian rider. He was out of the seat in that overtake and still takes the lead. Brilliant, brilliant stuff.
They're not hanging around here, are they? The race leaders. Is that Adaki getting a fantastic run?
Inside.
A fantastic run out of turn 11 from Adaki, but Pratama once again fantastic on the brakes into the final corner of turn 12 as we complete another lap. We start lap 5 of 15, 10 laps to go. A couple of hairy moments on that last lap, Chris. The riders just got to try and settle down and get into a rhythm, but all of them are clearly very, very hungry. None other than the Thai rider, Fuetesan, of course, to stand on that top step.
Yeah, we saw Pratama out of the seat. We've also seen Odaki have a moment. So, yeah, it's been a bit wild and wonderful so far in this ATC Race 1 here.
Contact.
And there's contact between Mitani and Odaki. And, wow, it's all happening here. I'm not quite sure where to look because we've seen Shinya Zawa hanging it on the outside now as well.
Oh, dearie me.
It's all action. It's being pushed all around. I don't know where to put my eyes right now, Elliot, but I'm looking at the front. It's Shinya Zawa. Pratama's been bunted down to 5th place, I think. He's in 6th behind Mitani now.
5 abreast going into turn 3. Got a little bit too close for comfort. You don't want to be making contact down into turn 3 braking zone. That's the fastest part of the track. Look at Fuetesan on the brakes on the number 20 machine. Gets the apex nailed as well. Is Azawa going to get the cut back? Adaki, sorry, going to get the cut back. Yes, he is, but that was such a lunge from Fuetesan, and it nearly paid off. Nearly a 2 for 1 down at turn 5, but he's back down to P2, and all this has led Pratama to sit at the back of the group, and he's probably thinking, I'm just going to sit here and watch the potential chaos unfold for a few laps. All these riders know they've got to try and beat Pratama if they've got any chance of winning the Cup this year. And as the last 2 laps have showed, everyone is really, really hungry to try and lead the race from the early exchanges.
Yeah, a little bit disappointment further back. I was seeing my timing screen. Burapao One Moon, as you see now on our screens, has crashed out. Disappointment for the home fans, but plenty of entertainment out front. And at the forefront of it is another home hero, Fuetesan. He's charging hard for his maiden win in this class. So, will he hold on? He's got plenty of competition. Odaki, Azawa, Mitani, 3 Japanese riders, all hungry for success, while we have the championship leader, Veda Pratama, lurking dangerously in the background. We've seen him do this. We saw him do this in race 1 back in Japan, where he just bided his time before making his move and taking victory.
Look at Pratama up the inside.
All the way up the inside. Wow.
P5 to P1 for Pratama there. Use the slipstream to great effect. So all the riders just pull across to the left to try and get the natural racing line around turn 3. And Pratama just said, thank you very much. There was a door left open and Pratama strided on through, did the number 7. 4 abreast to go into the very, very fast turn 4. It's 5th gear through turn 4, pretty much full chat on these Honda 250 machines, and all of a sudden, just like that, Pratama has got a little bit of advantage, a little bit of breathing space that I'm sure he'll be happy about.
Yeah, absolutely. He's put a bit of a gap between them now. He wasn't able to do that earlier. He's got about a 10th, I'd say, a couple bike lengths now over to Shinya Azawa. So let's see if the chasing pack can reel in the Cup leader. Shinya Azawa running in 2nd ahead of Fuetesan, Odaki, then Mitani. That is your lead group. Ryota Ogiwara, according to my timing screen, is all the way back up to 6th place, having been in 13th. So he's done well. Let's see if he's got the pace to close in on this lead group over the next few laps. You can see there in the background. Will he drag that other group into this while it all chops and changes in front of him?
Well, I'll tell you what, I just noticed that myself, Chris. So we're just going to interest and see what last lap times that the riders did. A 47.3 for Pratama. 3 of the riders were in the 48, so 148.2 for Ogiwara, so he didn't close down too much on that lap, but he is dragging Takahira, the number 9, with him, the Japanese rider. Number 10, Wan Moon, taken to the medical centre for a checkup. Good to hear that the rider is conscious, so hopefully it's just a precaution, and the home hero of Wan Moon will be back out for race 2 later on this afternoon. But Ogiwara then has got himself back up into P6. To be fair to Ogiwara, if he can finish in P6 after dropping down to P13 after 2 long lap penalties, that's a job well done on Saturday, and he'll be confident of taking it to the fight, the top 5 fight that we've just re-picked up here in Sunday's race. Pratama not breaking clear. I don't think he's got the pace to quite break clear. All the riders especially through the first sector, Chris, can just use that slipstream, even if they maybe not have the pace of Pratama potentially through the rest of the lap. They can just use that slipstream to close back in on the number 7.
Yeah, exactly. Odaki and Matani are the fastest riders from that lead group. They've got about 3/10 in their pocket over Pratama. So as you mentioned, he was out to 3/10 at one moment, but it's back to within a 10th, or just over a 10th to second place. So it does look like the riders behind have the pace to keep Pratama in their sights. And with, what, about 8 laps to go, just under 8 laps to go, you can feel they're going to reel him in. In fact, there's less than a bike length between them now. So, Puerta-san, is he going to make a move? Not quite close enough yet, but he's going to eye up Pratama, see where he's weak and see where he can get an opportunity to strike.
7 laps to go here in race 1. Just clicked through half race distance here on Saturday evening. The sun setting here at the Chang International Circuit. No sign of rain, thankfully. We're going to get a dry race, fingers crossed, for the remaining 6 3/4 laps. But the riders have just closed in on Pratama. You can see there on your timing screens, Puerta-san 3/10 faster than Pratama was on that last lap. It's just calmed down a little bit, hasn't it, from the last couple of laps before the last lap, where it got a little bit hairy and a little bit argy-bargy. It has just calmed down a little bit. I think the riders realised that was still 9 laps to go, and there's no need to be bumping and barging until the final couple of laps of the race. As I say that, Odaki, and then Puerta-san just cuts across the nose of Odaki going into turn 4. But Pratama keeping his nose dry at the minute, out front, sat at the back of the group for around about a lap, did Pratama, and then pounced again. He likes to lead, does Pratama. We've seen it all season long. And we've seen it in this race already. When a rider overtakes Pratama, he doesn't like to sit behind him. He likes to bite straight back. He knows he's got a good pace. He knows he's got pace to win. And the number 7 likes to lead from the front.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at the timing screens through that first and second sector, the riders again still have a couple of tenths in their back pocket. Perhaps through the slipstream, Pratama is out there with the cold air in front. So he's blocking. He's giving the slipstream to the riders behind, and they're gaining on him, but they just cannot find that move. He's giving no doors. He's leaving no doors open, the Indonesian rider, every time they're closing up. And maybe just as I say that, it looked like Odaki was lining up a move on the inside. Well, he's picked up Puerta-san. Didn't quite get close enough for Pratama, but can the Japanese rider make a move stick? We've seen him do it before on Pratama and come out on the losing side. Will it be different this time around?
6 laps to go then here in race 1 of Asia Talent Cup action, and what a race it has been so far. Just looking back to Ogiwara and Takahira on the number 16 and 9 machines, looking at the gap, Ogiwara just losing touch with the lead group. So unless something happens at the front, it's going to be P6 at best, you think, for Ogiwara and Takahira. Puerta-san then diving up the inside, takes the Pratama line, let's call it, up the inside from a few laps ago, and will lead very briefly, I think. He just runs a little bit wide. That's going to compromise the number 20's run down the second back straight. We've got a first back straight from turns 1 to 3, then it's turn 3 to 4 where we're coming now. We've seen plenty of passing manoeuvres down into turn 4, the left-hander that they're going through now, but it is Odaki now that leads from Pratama. Is Pratama going to dive up the inside at turn 5? No, thinks better of it.
Yeah, it's all changed once again at the front. Just a note for Ryota Ogiwara, he's already been through the long lap penalty loop twice. Maybe an explanation as to how he got to the front of that second group. He's got a track limits warning hanging over his head, so he'll need to keep it clean for the remainder of this race. But Pratama now back up the inside of Odaki, reclaims the lead. When he falls behind, he doesn't fall behind for long, does he, Elliot?
No, absolutely not. Just proving us right. We're not right a lot, Chris, but we are right about that. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, so good to see that we're right sometimes. But Odaki's not having any of it. Gets a great run again, does Odaki, on the number 14, out of turn 11, down into the hard braking zone of turn 12. But his sparring partner, Pratama, late on the brakes down into turn 12. Got to watch out for that on the final lap. If they're not close enough to Pratama, then Pratama's got a good advantage on the brakes. He's very, very good on the brakes, is Pratama. But another lap completed, 5 laps to go. This race is absolutely flying by. A five-rider battle, for the race win here, including home hero in Puerta-san on the number 20. Matani and Azawa just keeping their powder dry at the back of group for now on the number 2 and number 21. As we mentioned, Mitani is the closest challenger to Pratama in the cup standings as he backs it in, takes a wide sweeping line. That's okay. You're going to get a good run. A late apex down at turn 3. Plenty of different lines down in to turn 3. We've seen riders overtake around the shorter line on the inside, and then you can take the wide sleeper line around the outside as well. Adaki in the slipstream, Fuetizan also in the slipstream. That's very, very close going into turn 4, but it's as you were for now. Pratama leading the way on the number 7 from Adaki, Fuetizan, Mitani and Ozawa, split by, as you can see, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself, where's the move going to come? Well, there's plenty of options. We've seen moves at every corner, I think, so far from this lead group. But the key is Pratama has had an answer for everything thrown at him. This kitchen sink and everything. And Mitani fires it up for 3rd place. Once again, brilliant stuff around the right-handers here as we come to close into the final sector of with just over 4 laps remaining. But it's all about Pratama out front. He's cruising out here. And we're going to see, will anyone get a move coming into the final corner here to give themselves the advantage with 4 to go? Odaki's pretty close.
Yeah, thought about it, did the number 14.
Pratama holds it on. Mitani's not hanging around though either. He wants to get out in front. He wants to remind Pratama that he is in this cup battle, that he is still in this race, and he's not winning any championship this weekend.
4 laps to go, and Mitani has gone from P4 to P2. Did he just keep his powder dry, just saving some energy, saving some rear tyre potentially for the last 4 laps? This is where it's going to start to get busy. It settled down, didn't it? It was a pretty hectic opening few laps between these 5 riders. As Mitani then up the inside, it's going to be 4 abreast. Fuetizan on the outside. Pratama tries to brake late, but he's got nowhere to go. Adaki up the inside as well. But it's going to be the Thai rider, Fuetizan, who takes the lead out of turn 3, swapping and changing down there. So Mitani goes back to P3. He wasn't in P2, sorry, for long. Pratama is dropped to P4, looks behind him and sees a faithful Ozawa.
Yeah, Pratama just getting bunted a little bit wide there, swapping paint coming around through there. Little look behind to see, probably to see where Zen Mitani is perhaps, or how many were behind him and what he needs to do here. But now it's all about Fuetizan. I think the home fans are going to be going a little bit crazy with just a few laps to go, seeing their hero out front, but not for long as Adaki fights straight back and takes the lead once again. Mitani holds on to 3rd ahead of his championship rival Pratama.
Fuetizan onto the green there. Saw Pratama go onto the green a couple of times this time around. We've got no warning signs on our screens for track limits as things stand. Fuetizan up the inside at turn 9. That's a brave move down there. Don't see that all too often. You've got to be late on the brakes there. Adaki slings it up the inside then of Fuetizan. So the number 20 just lost out there slightly as he tried to go up the inside. It's now Mitani who is leading the race for the first time, but I bet, Chris, it isn't going to be for long. Pratama up the inside, late on the brakes, down into the final corner. Runs slightly wide, just Pratama, but gets it stood up and fired away. So after dropping down to P4 for around about half a lap, Pratama is leading the race again. 3 laps to go here in race 1.
And the drive into turn 1, Pratama has the advantage coming out front, still holding on. Mitani though is happy in 2nd place for now. He's going to want to make a move though and make sure the Indonesian ahead of him does not break away. The long drive here now, flicking it through 2 into turn 3. Are we going to see much chopping and changing? You bet you are. Look at Fuetizan, he's going to pull the wider line. Will he make something stick? Or Mitani on the inside, and Odaki leaves it late on the apex, and Pratama's been punted down to 4th once again. It's all chopping and changing. Mitani is now out in the lead ahead of Odaki. I think Fuetizan's going to hold off Pratama, but Pratama is charging hard. Oh, and Mitani's taken a different line there, and it's cost him a few places. He's dropped to 4th.
Tell you what, it's so close out there. The riders doing very well to avoid any crashes. Expert riding from all 5 of these riders. They're battling hard, but they're battling fair. 2.5 laps to go. Mitani just shoving it up the inside of Fuetizan, the Thai rider. So after leading briefly, the number 20 is back down to P4. Adaki leads the way, but for how long? Pratama gets a great run out of turn 7. Into turn 8 they go. The right-hander, not this time around for Pratama. Adaki good on the brakes down there. This is turn 9, and it's all about getting a good run out of here. Flick hit left as Pratama gets out of the seat. He was a little bit too trigger happy on the gas there, wasn't he, Pratama? It's just going to cost him slightly coming through turns 10. That's the King Cut 11, and it's all about getting the drive out of turn 11 and diving down into turn 12. Last of the late breakers. Pratama is usually that, and he gets it up the inside. Job done for Pratama down at turn 12. 2 laps to go when they cross the line.
He's wobbling once again, Pratama. He's desperate to take the win here, but Odaki is... We've seen this before. It's Pratama and Odaki out front, but not just them this time. We've got Zen Mitani, Poeta-san and Izawa, who are all desperate for a podium and victory. I'd say Poeta-san is going to do everything in his power to give the home fans what they want. But it's all about Pratama and Odaki out front at the moment. We've seen lots of chopping and changing through turns 3, 4. So what are we going to see here? Well, Odaki's still in second. Pratama holds on to the lead, though. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get him. Will anyone get the better drive out? Coming into 4 and 5.
Yeah, all clean through turn 3 there. Just keep in line astern through turn 3. They've not done that for the last few laps, but on that lap they decided to do so. Odaki getting a great run though into the slipstream of Pratama. Pulls out. He's going to have the inside line. Chops the nose off of Pratama. And then gets it nailed onto the apex. Will Pratama bite back into turn 5? Not quite this time around. 1.5 laps to go. Mitani right behind his main title rival. Mitani knows that he needs to try and beat Pratama, to try and cut that deficit down. The number 2 and the number 7 it is in the title chase. But in terms of the race victory here, it's between all of these 5 riders. Pratama hits the front then. 1.5 laps to go. Mitani follows him through. Odaki goes from P1 to P3 in a matter of a couple of corners. Azawa's having a look at the inside now of the 14. Thinks better of it through turn 9.
Yeah, coming around 10, 11, Pratama once again out in the lead, but Mitani has got the hooks into the Indonesian. Is he going to... Yeah, he's got the run. Is he going to make that move stick in, coming into 12? Well, it looks like Pratama has got this one covered. Odaki is charging hard as well. Let's see what happens here, because we've just over a lap to go and Pratama is going to lead going on to the last lap. But as we've seen, it can all chop and change. Turn 1 is the first opportunity to strike. Turns 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're all opportunities for these riders. It could go absolutely anywhere.
Last lap time then here in the Asia Talent Cup, race 1 from Thailand. Just looking at the group chasing, Takahira has got the better of Ogiwara, but we need to see what's happening in the lead group. They're just coming down into the turn 3 break zone now where it's all happened. So Pratama then, he's got a decent advantage. Doesn't like anyone's going to make a move for the race lead this time around. Mitani hands it around the outside. He's got to try and get a good run. He's going to get shuffled back to P5, and with Pratama and the race lead, this is fantastic news for the number 7, but half a lap to go here in race 1 of 2. Fuetazan currently in P2, trying desperately to try and get the slipstream of Pratama. Pratama's nailed this first sector on the final lap. It's the Thai rider of Fuetazan on the number 20 been holding P2 so far. Izawa's looking busy in P3 on the number 21 as they all close up through turn 5.
Yeah, Poeta-san looks best placed now to challenge Pratama. It's been absolutely brilliant run there from Pratama, avoiding anyone getting into the slipstream behind him where we've seen him been overtaken a couple times before, coming in and out of turn 3. But now just a few corners left. Is Poeta-san going to chuck this one up the inside? When's he going to get his chance? You'd have to say it's probably going to be at turn 12 if anywhere. But Shinya Izawa has a little look up the inside there too. But Poeta-san looks best placed to challenge Pratama here. Will he make a move stick? Best chance is coming into the final corner, turn 12.
Flick it right through turn 11, now down to turn 12. Pratama looks like he potentially has the job done, or does he? The number 20 of Fuetazan lunges up the inside. Azawa's up the inside as well on the 21. It looks like Fuetazan's got the job done though.
Contact is on the seats.
But it's going to be Fuetazan, the Thai rider, who wins on home soil. Fuetazan is a home hero here at the Chang International Circuit. Drama down at the final corner, and you can see the beaming eyes through the screen. Fuetazan is an Asia Talent Cup race winner, and what a venue to do it at. Here's the battle for P5, P6 and P7, sorry. Ogiwara just losing out to Takahira on the final lap. There's more contact down at the final corner at turn 12. Couldn't quite see. I think it was Puja
someone has
who
lost
just
a fairing, I think, as well.
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's try and unpick that, Chris.
Putra's fairing has gone. But what a race, what a last corner move from Poeta-san. If you're going to win a home Grand Prix for the first time in the Asia Talent Cup, why not do it in the most dramatic fashion possible? Brilliant from Poeta-san. I think he got a big helping hand from Shinya Izawa, who also made that move behind the Thai rider, and that bunted Pratama down to 5th place, with Eamon Odaki finishing the podium places. Zen Mitani gets a couple crucial points ahead of his cup rival and keeps his championship dream alive.
We all thought it was going to come down to the last lap and at turn 12, and didn't it just happen? The number 20 of Fuetazan diving up the inside. There was contact at the final corner. Pratama led through turn 11. had every chance of not winning the race, but didn't think he'd finish P5. Just got, caught up in the last lap battle down at the final corner, did Patama. He doesn't look too displeased though. He knows that his title race gap, his advantage, is still intact. Here we go then, a replay of the final lap at the final corner. The number 21 of Azara up the inside, Partizan getting the job done, and then it was just Azara and Patama just battling it out for the same racing line. I think that's simply a racing incident down at the final corner. Obviously Patama, you can understandably see, is annoyed. He did, to be fair to the number 7, very, very well indeed to keep it upright as Matani gets the better of it.
I tell you what, that's a superb save from Patama, and to cling on to some crucial points. You can see he's banging off the bike, but he's picked up crucial points. He's still in control of this championship, but the day belongs to Jakrapat Puetasan.
It certainly does. The Thai rider on home soil, a debut victory in the Asia Talent Cup, picked up his first podium back in Japan with a P3, backed it up with 2 top 6 finishes over in Indonesia, and coming into Thailand, he'll have known if you're going to win any races in the Asia Talent Cup, you want to make it your home races, and that's an absolutely phenomenal way to start the weekend here in Thailand. Victory in race 1 for Partizan, and he'll be beaming with confidence, I'm sure, going out for race 2. I'm looking forward to interviewing the top 3 just after this race. Going to see how happy Partizan is. I'm sure pulling into Parc Ferme and on the podium, it's going to be absolutely delirium. Azawa also on the podium in 2nd place, and Adaki, a reminder, in 3rd. Mitani just picking off Patama for P4. Important points gained for Mitani, and then of course Patama finishing down in P5. 8/10 splitting the top 5. Racing, Chris, doesn't get much better than that.
No, constant chopping and changing among a lead group over 15 laps. We couldn't have asked for a better race, and it was all decided at the final corner. Absolutely superb watch. I know we certainly enjoyed it here, and I hope you watching on did at home as well.
Yeah, I'm sure the Indonesian fans won't be pleased with what happened at the final corner, but Patama has another chance to put things right tomorrow morning, before the Moto3, Moto2 and of course MotoGP races kick off. And if it's anything like that, then what a way to start your Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons or Sunday evenings, wherever you are watching in the world. 9:45 local time, another 15 laps coming up. Can we make it 20 or 25? Because that was really, really good fun. I'm sure the riders won't agree with that, because tough conditions out there.
I don't think I do either. I don't have the voice to keep commentating over 25 laps of drama like that.
No, that's very true. Neither do I. So then, final results do not look like that unless something dramatic has changed. Veda Patama, unfortunately for Indonesian fans, didn't win the race, and Mitani and Adaki weren't on the podiums either. So no news as to why that is. I think it's just an incorrect graphic. I'm assuming it is anyway. The top 10, I'll run you through it. Fuetsan, Azara and Daki on the podium. Mitani and Pratama inside the top 5 in P4 and P5. As we saw, Takahiro just nicked P6 off Ogiwara. P6 and P7. They're not the right ones either. Nicholas finished in P8 with Singapong, the Thai wildcard rider, finishing in P9. That's a fantastic job from the wildcard rider. And Fadia rounding out the top 10 with Altahuti, Putra, Darwizi, Mailandri and Russo completing your point scorers. Incidentally, for the Thai fans watching on, Tanachot finished down in P18, the Thai rider. The riders then will get in the golf buggies. You can see at the top of your screens. And they will head off to the podium on the opposite side of the track in front of this fantastic grandstand here at the Chang International Circuit. It was packed earlier for MotoGP. Good to see some of the fans sticking around to watch a home hero win in front of his home fans. And tomorrow morning, of course, everyone will be piling in for the main race day. And after seeing that, you bet your bottom dollar that a few more will be turning up to make sure they tune in to watching the 15 laps that are going to unfold.
Yeah, 100% worth tuning in for. We won't see the title decided this weekend, but does roll on to Malaysia. But before we have that, we have the small matter of race 2 here. 5 riders vying for victory today. I'm sure 4 of them will be out for a little bit of vengeance in the morning.
Certainly will. Pratama, I won't be speaking to him. I'll try and find out from the guys down there how they're all feeling, but I think the annoyance quickly turned to not happiness per se. He won't be happy with a P5, but he'll have enjoyed the battle for sure. All 5 of those riders will have enjoyed that. None more so, of course, than Fuetazan, Ozawa and Adaki, the Japanese riders on the podium. And then Mitani in P4 and Pratama in P5. And of course, if it wasn't for Ogiwara's double long lap penalty, we might have had a 6-rider fight for victory. And who knows what can happen, of course. On Sunday morning, the riders all go back, debrief the race with their mechanics and together. And then some improvements might be found for tomorrow morning. So if we can have something similar, Chucky and Ogiwara and hopefully a couple of other riders as well, then what a battle we've got on our hands for tomorrow morning. But it is time for the riders to enjoy the podium here in Thailand. Adaki standing on the podium once more. Ozawa standing on the podium for the 2nd time this season after standing on the podium at his home race in Japan. Fuetazan, as we mentioned, on the P1 box for the very first time. And very, very shortly, we will be hearing the Thai national anthem. They'll be hoping they'll be hearing that again tomorrow morning in race 2. And of course, in the Moto2 race, where Somkiat Chantra will be launching from inside the top 10 in his hunt for victory on home turf. Exciting times for Thai fans and Thai motorcycle racing. A new star is born from Thailand. Jakprifat Fuetazan lifts the #1 trophy. Hope he's packed room in his suitcase for that, as we now get set for the Thai national anthem. Congratulations to Fuetazan. He is an Asia Talent Cup race winner. And how great is it to hear the Thai national anthem ringing around the Chang International Circuit here in Buriram. A fantastic race 1. We're going to get highlights very soon indeed. Just a reminder of what's unfolded. I do feel sorry for the guys trying to condense the highlights from that race, because there was so much going on, Chris, and it just makes me even more excited than I was for tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%, and you're dead right to be. Absolutely superb race as we look at the final results, with Fuetazan winning out on top ahead of Ozawa, Nodaki, Mitani and Pratama. Miss out on the podium but come in the top 5. Richie Takehira takes 6th off Ryota Ogiwara. Marianos Nicholas in 8th position. As we mentioned before, Thai wildcard Singapore takes a top 10 finish in P9 ahead of Rekat Fadila in 10th. Al Sahuti, Putra, Darwisi, Mailandri and Russo are your point scorers, with Gading, Putra missing out in 16th and 17th, as does Tanakot. Razidan, Chavan and other Thai rider Burapa Wanmoon didn't finish the race, nor did Farish Hafang.
Confirmation then of your final results here for race 1. As we've mentioned, if you've not already noted it down, 9:45 local time tomorrow morning before the Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP races begin. Tune in for that one. Here is your updated Riders' Championship. 55 points in it a couple of points less than it was between Veda Pratama and Mitani. Fuetazan moves up into the bronze medal position in P3. Adaki also moves up ahead of Riichi Takeru, who now drops down to P5, but it's close in the chase for the top 3 in the championship. Ogiwara is in P6 with Azara in P7. Al Sahuti on 48 points is in P8 with Hafi and Putra in P9 and P10 respectively, locked together on 44 points. Fadia, Nicholas, Darwizi, Rasaidin and Maelandri complete your top 15, with Wanmoon, the Thai rider, currently in P16. Hopefully we'll see him back out for race 2. Here reads your highlights then from race 1, from what we've just seen. Veda Pratama getting the perfect launch from pole position. It was his 3rd pole position of the season, and he couldn't have launched any better than that. Thai home hero Fuetazan was on the front row and launched it up to P2 straight away. This was unfortunately the crash for Hafi down on the exit of turn 9. A nasty one for the number 19 rider, but as you can see there, back up on his feet, trying desperately to get his bike restarted, but unfortunately it was to no avail. But a lead group of 5 riders pretty much immediately pulled clear after Ogiwara had to take a double long lap penalty. And this was your lead group. It was getting pretty hectic in the opening few laps. All the riders, including Pratama, your championship leader, fighting out for the race leads. And this was a crash down at turn 1 for Rasaidin, the number 18 rider, the Indonesian. Good to see he was all okay after that one. A nasty one for the Indonesian down there at turn 1, but the action was all at the front in race 1, and it all came down to the last lap. This was a couple of laps before all the riders jostling for P1. Pratama launching up the inside of Adaki on the number 14. Mitani was in the mix, Azara on the number 21, and of course Fuetazan as well on the number 20. A 5-rider battle that all came down to this. Pratama led out of turn 11. Fuetazan up the inside at turn 12, and contact was made between the number 21 of Azara and Pratama. Unfortunately for Pratama, he dropped from P1 to P5. Azara took a podium, so did Adaki, but it was the number 20 of Fuetazan, the Thai rider, who wins here in race 1. We will see you for more tomorrow morning for race 2. Join us then.